Well, today is known as Laetare Sunday. That's a Latin word means joy or rejoicing. So hopefully you're all full of joy this morning. And so, strictly speaking, today we don't wear purple vestments. We ought to be wearing rose vestments, but we don't have any rose vestments. So I've done the best I can. A little bit of flour. And also, and then maybe you can explain this to me, also in many parts of the world today is Mothering Sunday, is Mother's Day, but it's not here. Right. Now, I know why it's Mothering Day in most normal parts of the world, because Laetare Sunday, got its name, is Midland Sunday, and going way back, girls who were in service or servant girls who were looking after rich families and households were allowed on this Sunday to go home and visit their mother, because they would be busy at Easter cooking and preparing the Easter feast and so on. So Midland Sunday today in many parts of the world is Mothering Sunday. Now, when is it celebrated here? May. And does anybody know why? Probably commercial reasons. Almost, yeah. Now, so that's a little bit about Laetare Sunday. I'm moving on from there then. The gospel this morning, because we come to the second scrutiny for the people who are preparing to be received into the church at Easter time. And the second scrutiny is about seeing. It's about seeing the light, but more so it's about seeing truthfully. And many ancients referred to what they call the tragic sense of life, that most people, due to their lack of insight and wisdom, do stupid things and self-destructive things. And isn't that so true? So true. Have you ever, any of you here, ever done stupid things? Yep. Sure, yeah. I can put the two hands up. And that's, very often we don't really see reality, we don't see truthfully, but more important, many times we don't want to. We don't want to know the truth about ourselves. It takes courage, a lot of courage, to look into our own hearts and our own souls, really, it does. In the recovering movement, whether it's recovering from alcohol or gambling or whatever addiction, you are required to do an inventory, a truthful, an honest inventory of yourself. Now, you know, and I know from experience, if you know somebody who has an alcoholic problem or a gambling problem or an eating problem or a sexual problem, you can talk all day long. You can point out to them where they're going wrong. Will it change them? No. Until they have the courage, and it takes courage and it takes backbone to look truthfully at themselves and admit, I have a problem. That's 90% on the way to recovery. When you can say truthfully, I have a problem, you're well on the way. And then you go and seek help. You need help. You go and seek help. And that's exactly, that fits in very well to the gospel this morning. It's almost like a piece of theater where you have the blind man, you have Jesus, you have the Pharisees, you have the scribes, and you have his parents, all interacting and taking part in this little, piece of theater or in this little play. And so, a couple of interesting points about that the blind man did not ask Jesus to be healed. which is a good point. Jesus saw his need. Jesus saw his need before, and the blind man didn't ask. Jesus knows our needs more than before ourselves, and better than we know. So I never actually pray to Jesus for my needs, because I know he gives me everything I need. I think most times, what are we praying for? Our wants, rather than our needs. I want this, I want that, and I want the other thing. So Jesus knew his needs. Now, a very important point. A big argument then begins, and this applies to all of us. So, why is he blind? Well, the Pharisees said, we know why he's blind, because he's a sinner. See the prejudice and the judging. And who comes out worse in this story? The religious, the priests. They always do, you know. They do, really. Full of all, set ideas and immovable. And so the Pharisees, they saw their power and their control and everything else, and their theology, so, being threatened. But, and this is very important, who has sinned? Why is he suffering like that? Now, how often you have said, I'm sure you have, why has God done this to me? Why has God done this to me? I go to church every Sunday. I say my prayers. I'm a decent Catholic, whatever that means. A decent, you might be better off being an indecent Catholic. I don't know, but I'm a decent Catholic, and I do my bit. And why is God punishing me? Well, Jesus answered that in the gospel this morning by answering that neither he nor his parents sinned, but this happened so that the wonderful works of God could be seen. And so I can honestly, and it's always very important up here to be honestly able to share from the heart. I can honestly say that when I come across suffering or come across somebody else suffering, as I have done more than once this week, I've met with people who are in terrible suffering, and they are puzzled, and the question comes up time after time after time. I know, and I believe God never lets anything go to waste. Believe me when I say that. Believe me. And no matter what happens in my life, I firmly believe, whether it is pain or suffering, I don't complain, but I say, things go wrong, you make a mess of things, you fail. Failure is very important. I know God has a plan, and God has. Nothing in this world happens by chance. There is a plan. There is a plan. And when you really believe that, really, now that's seeing truthfully. That's seeing, it's like a third eye, rather than seeing physically, you're seeing, you have wisdom and understanding. I don't know what you pray for each day, but every morning in my life, I pray that God will give me the gift of insight, the gift of wisdom and understanding, to see what really matters and what really is important and what is not important. How often we spend hours and hours and hours worrying about things that are not important, huh? How often we do that. Does it achieve anything? No, it does. It does. Pain in our tummies, pain in our backs, headaches. We get tired from worrying. God give me the insight to see what is important and what is not important. wisdom, understanding. That's what the gospel is about this morning. To see with a new pair of eyes. Because as soon as that man was healed and he could see, look at the change that came about in his life. He now became a follower of Jesus. And so that's really the core message of the gospel this morning. Don't be afraid to look into your own hearts and your own souls. Ask yourself a question. For example, what motivates me? What gets me out of bed in the morning? What are my main aims in life? Is it success? Is it fame? Is it to make more money? What motivates me? What gets me out of bed in the morning? And ask yourself, and don't give a superficial answer, but dig deep down into your hearts and into your souls, and then come up with an answer. Don't be afraid to do a moral inventory on yourself. You'll be amazed what you find. So let's stand now. Well, no, stay as you are. Sorry.